Hey everyone, Pastor Nathan here. We're in the final week of the Red Letter Challenge at Epiphany Lutheran Church. This is the week of going, and today we're talking about what it means to be a witness as we go and make disciples of all nations. To be a witness is just to talk about what we've seen, what we've heard, what we know to be truth. And as witnesses of Jesus Christ, following his directive in Acts chapter 1, verse 8, where he says, "You will be my witnesses." Part of going is being prepared to talk about what God has done in the world and especially in our own lives. When we're talking about being witnesses, we're saying this is what God has done. Some of that is going to be based out of Scripture. Jesus died for me. Jesus rose for me. Jesus saved me even though I could do nothing to deserve it or earn it. That's going to be part of our witness. The other part of that, though, and perhaps the part we're simultaneously both better prepared for and perhaps not as prepared for, is what has God done in our own lives? How has God been working in your life? And what can you bear witness to about how he's been working in today's age? And what I mean by that is, in the one sense, we're better prepared for this because it's our life. He's been working there. We're eyewitnesses to that. We've felt it. We've seen it. We've heard it. We've, we've experienced it as we've been living life. But it may also not be as easy because it takes some time to think about that. Well, what does that look like? Has he been working in my life? I know first time I was asked to put together a testimony. This was back on Vicarage. I was asked to put together a testimony. I had a tough time putting this together. Not because I didn't have things to say, but because I never thought about those things in that way. How would I communicate what God has done to me to somebody else? So the challenge today is simply this, is to think about how God has been working in your life and then write it down. How would you tell somebody else about what God has done for you? It doesn't have to be dramatic. I'll tell you what, my testimony is not dramatic in the sense that there was not this sort of Paul Damascus Road conversion experience in my life. I was baptized 8 days after I was born by my dad, and I've never really not followed Jesus. I've been further away and I've been closer at times, but there's never really a place I can go back to say, oh, the Lord got me and turned me around. That's not how my life has operated. And I hope that's how your life has operated too. That you've been a follower of Jesus Christ and it didn't take a dramatic experience to get you here. But if it did take a dramatic experience to get you here, we're glad you're here the same. And you've got a testimony. You've got something you can go back to and say, God got a hold of me and here's the difference that is made. But for the rest of us, who may or may not have as dramatic a testimonies, that doesn't mean we can't talk about what God has done for us. For me, it was through my parents being incredibly patient with me in my doubts and in my skepticism about the Word. Because there was a portion of time where I did doubt to a certain extent, some of the things God had said. Not that God existed, not that God didn't send his son Jesus Christ, but I had some doubts about some aspects of Scripture. And God worked through my parents. They were incredibly patient with me. They did not hammer me back in my place, saying, that's a dumb question. There was a listening aspect there that was absolutely critical to my own walk of faith. And I can honestly point to my parents and say, I know that God was working through them in my life. I can point to the places where God has provided for my wife and I. In miraculous and extraordinary ways, unlooked for ways, as we have needed, he has provided. And it's really quite incredible how he has been working. And so for my testimony is not dramatic, but nevertheless, I could still point to places where I say, yes, this has made a huge difference in how my life has worked out, and here's where God is working today, and I bear witness to what God has done in my life through Jesus at the cross and still today. So I hope that's helpful for you. Please take the time to write out your testimony and think about, ponder, set aside, what has God done for me? And how does that look in my life? So anyhow, hope that's helpful for you as you work through today's Red Letter Challenge. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and we look forward to talking with you soon. Take care.